They say you never forget the first moment your world changes. For me, it wasn't lightning. It wasn't fireworks. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon in Charleston, South Carolina, the air warm, the sky painted in lazy blues, and the scent of magnolia trees riding the breeze. I was sitting on the patio of a small bookstore cafe, sipping iced tea, flipping through a battered copy of To the Lighthouse, when a shadow fell across the page. Is that your favorite, or are you just trying to impress someone? I looked up. He was tall, sun-kissed, with a gentle smirk tugging at the corners of his mouth like he didn't take life too seriously. Sandy brown hair, a little messy. Faded denim shirt. He looked like someone who belonged in a movie or maybe on the porch of a beach house, holding a guitar. I smirked back. Are those my only two options? Fair point, he said, and slid into the seat across from me like we'd known each other for years. His name was Eli Whitaker. Photographer. Wanderer. Allergic to small talk, addicted to vinyl records, and the only man I've ever met who could name every constellation in the sky without checking his phone. That day turned into 3 hours of conversation, stories, laughter, that weird kind of electric quiet that only happens when two people see something familiar in a stranger. We fell in love like it was written into our bones. Evenings turned into slow dancing in the kitchen, our feet bare on cold tile, his hands around my waist. Weekend road trips to nowhere in particular, windows down, music loud, my hair tangled in the wind while Eli pointed out every odd little roadside attraction like they were national treasures. He called me June, even though my name's Julia. Said I reminded him of early summer, soft light, thunderstorms, that aching kind of beauty that doesn't ask for attention but steals it anyway. Our world wasn't perfect, rent was late more than once, and Eli's freelance gigs were inconsistent at best. But none of that mattered. We had us. Mismatched coffee mugs. Board games at midnight. Kisses that didn't need a reason. One night, we lay on the roof of his apartment building, wrapped in a shared blanket, eyes on the stars. Tell me something true, I whispered. He turned his face toward me, his voice low and serious. I think I've loved you from the second I saw you. And I believed him. Not because of the way he said it, but because he lived it. Every day. In 1,000 little ways. The tea he made before I woke up. The way he touched my hand in a crowd like he was anchoring me. The letters he left in the books I read, each one ending with, "Find me in the sky, if I ever go." I didn't know then how much those words would come to mean. Back then, love was sunlight through lace curtains, warmth in winter, safety without question. We made plans. Big ones. A wedding by the ocean. A white dog named Clementine. Kids who'd learn to play guitar like their dad. A future carved in laughter and patience. I remember sitting on the floor of our living room, a pen between my teeth, scribbling baby names into a worn notebook, while Eli took candid pictures of me under golden hour light. He said he wanted to remember me just like that, real, messy, full of life. It felt like the kind of love that would outlast storms, time, even death itself. I was wrong about one of those. But not yet. Back then, it was still just us. And us felt eternal. The first time it happened, I thought I was just tired. I was brushing my teeth when the bathroom light seemed to flicker, or maybe it was my vision. For a moment, everything dulled, the colors, the edges of the mirror, even the sound of Eli's humming from the other room. It was like being pulled underwater for a second too long. I blinked hard. The world came back. I didn't say anything. A few weeks later, I forgot the word for lemon. I was squeezing one into tea and just froze. "Babe," Eli said, gently, "you okay?" "Yeah," I smiled, trying to laugh it off. "Brain fog. Probably need more sleep." But inside, something twisted. Something that didn't feel like exhaustion. Then came the bruises I couldn't explain. The dreams that turned into waking confusion. The times I'd walk into a room and forget why I was there. The sentences that trailed off halfway through because I couldn't find the next word. Eli noticed. He didn't say it right away, he was careful with me, always. But I caught the way his eyes lingered longer. The way his hand would rest on my back a beat too long, like he was steadying me. One night, I woke up screaming. He held me, whispering my name over and over. "June. June. June." I was shaking. There were tears on my face. I didn't remember crying. All I could say was, "Something's wrong, Eli. Something's really wrong." We saw doctors. So many doctors. Neurologists, specialists, hours in white rooms with cold hands and too many questions. They poked and prodded and scanned and scribbled. Then came the silence. And the soft-spoken man in the white coat who looked too sorry before he even opened his mouth. "A rare neurodegenerative condition," he said. The words blurred together after that. Progressive. No known cure. Cognitive decline. Motor deterioration. Memory loss. A few good years, maybe. Then. Eli didn't cry. Not there. He held my hand like a lifeline while my body went cold with disbelief. Afterward, in the parking lot, I collapsed into his chest and sobbed until I couldn't breathe. And he just kept whispering, "We'll fight it. Whatever this is, we fight it." But there was nothing to fight. Only time. And the slow certainty that I was leaving him not all at once, but piece by piece. I started writing everything down. Journals. Voice memos. Notes to myself for days I wouldn't recognize the morning light. Eli filled our home with sticky notes. "This is the coffee. This is the front door. You are safe." He never left my side. He made me laugh even on days I could barely speak. He danced with me in the living room when I couldn't remember how we met. And yet, I could feel myself slipping. Like standing on a beach where the tide keeps pulling at your ankles. Soft at first. Then harder. Then deeper. One night, I sat on the floor of our bedroom, the same spot I used to dream up baby names, and I couldn't remember why I'd opened the notebook. Eli found me staring at the page, lost. He knelt in front of me, his hands trembling. "June," he said, tears finally breaking in his voice, "please don't leave me. I'm still here," I whispered, even though I wasn't sure it was true. A week later, I disappeared. Not physically, but emotionally. Eli came home and found me sitting at the kitchen table, staring out the window. "Hey," he said softly, brushing my hair back. "What are you thinking about?" I looked at him like he was a stranger. And in that moment, the light in his eyes broke. That was the turning point. The moment we both knew the tide wasn't turning back. And the woman he loved, the one who remembered stardust and poetry and the smell of summer rain, was starting to fade. I remember the man I fell in love with. His laugh was the kind that made strangers smile. He used to hum Sinatra while making pancakes. He'd wake me up by tracing letters on my back, invisible love notes I never wanted to end. But lately, when I look at him, I see someone else. Someone quieter. He doesn't laugh like he used to. Not really. His eyes are dimmer now. His smile, when it comes, feels like a memory trying to be reborn. And it's my fault. Because he's still holding on to me, while I slip away. There are entire days I can't recall now. Hours I lose like dropped photographs scattered by wind. Sometimes, I forget where I am. Or who I am. But I never forget him. Even when the world turns strange and the mirror reflects a stranger, Eli is my constant. He shaves my legs when I forget how. He reads my old journals aloud when the silence gets too heavy. He kisses my forehead like it's a ritual, a prayer he won't stop saying, even if no one's listening. I've seen him cry. Not once, not twice, but in the small hours when he thinks I'm asleep. He'll sit by the window, wrapped in one of my sweaters, staring into the dark like it's holding the answer he can't find. One night, I woke up enough to hear him whisper, "She's still in there. I know she is. But I am not the only one fading. He is too. Just in a different way." Eli used to be full of fire, ideas, dreams, momentum. But now he moves through life like he's walking through fog. He quit photography. He stopped taking calls from friends. Even his mom said, "You're disappearing, Eli," when she visited last Christmas. He didn't argue. Just kissed my temple and walked her to the door. He's a ghost of the man I met that day in Charleston. But there's something even more painful than watching him fade. It's watching him fight. He clings to me with this quiet desperation, recording videos of us on the good days, talking to doctors, begging for clinical trials, calling neurologists in other time zones like a man searching for a miracle with a deadline. He tucks vitamins into my morning oatmeal. He reads about memory therapies at 3 a.m. He tells me stories I've heard 100 times just to spark the flicker in my eyes. And every time I remember, even for a second, he lights up like a man who's just heard God speak. But I know the truth. I know his breaking. And it guts me, because there's nothing I can do to save him from it. Love is cruel like that. Sometimes it asks everything of you and leaves you with nothing in return. One day, I found him in the closet, clutching one of my old scarves to his chest. He didn't hear me come in. He just sat there, rocking slightly, whispering, "Come back. Please come back." I knelt beside him, rested my forehead to his, and for a moment, just one, the fog lifted. I remembered his hands. His laugh. The way he used to look at me like I was a lighthouse and he was lost at sea. "I love you," I whispered. He broke. Completely. Since then, he's changed again. Quieter. Sharper. More focused, somehow. As if something inside him has decided, if I can't save her this way, I'll find another. I don't know what he's planning. He doesn't talk about it. But I see it in the way he moves, with purpose again. The shadow is still there, yes. But it's moving now. Like it's chasing something. Or someone. He thinks I'm gone. But I'm still here. I feel him. And I'm holding on. Even if I'm just a flicker in the dark. I remember the day he stopped being sad. Not because the sadness went away, it never does, but because he found something stronger beneath it. Rage. I watched it grow behind his eyes, quiet and sharp. The kind of rage that doesn't burn hot. The kind that freezes, calculates, and waits. I didn't know what he knew. Not yet. But I saw the shift in him. Eli stopped crying in the dark. And started digging in the light. It started with a doctor's voicemail. I don't remember the name. I barely remember faces anymore. But I remember Eli's voice as he played the message again and again. The results were unusual. The markers don't match the standard progression. He played it 15 times. Then he started pulling every file, every scan, every second opinion we'd ever been given. The house filled with medical reports, manila folders, notes taped to the walls like a detective's lair. He barely slept. Barely ate. But he was alive again. And part of me, the part that was still me, felt hope. He started asking questions no one wanted to answer. Why did my scans show inconsistencies? Why did the trial doctor change facilities 2 weeks after diagnosing me? Why were there identical cases, same symptoms, same timeline, reported in other states? And why had every one of them been treated by the same pharmaceutical research group? Eli found a name, Halden Biomedical. Private. Funded. Shielded. And maybe, just maybe, responsible. He showed me documents I could no longer read. Spoke to me like I was whole, even when I was drifting in and out of the present. "I think someone did this to you," he said, gripping my hand. "And I swear to God, June, I'm going to find out why." He started showing up where they didn't want him. Corporate offices. Conferences. He posed as a grad student to sit in on one of their presentations. Came home pale, shaking, holding a flash drive like it was nuclear. There was a trial, June. Experimental cognitive therapy using synthetic proteins to speed up neuroplasticity. My mouth didn't know how to say it anymore, but my heart screamed. I never signed up for a trial. Neither had the other cases Eli found. There were 5 of us. All young. All healthy. All with rapidly progressing cognitive decay. All treated by the same private facility before our symptoms began. They'd called it pre-screening for neurological optimization. Just a fancy way to say, lab rats without consent. Eli went to the press. They ignored him. He posted online. They shut him down. So he changed tactics. He leaked what he'd found anonymously to a medical ethics watchdog group. Names. Paper trails. Secret documents. Emails between doctors who knew what was happening and buried it. It caught fire. Suddenly, Halden Biomedical wasn't untouchable anymore. Suddenly, the world was watching. A lawyer contacted Eli. Then another. Then a group of whistleblowers. What followed wasn't fast, the truth never is, but it was real. Investigations. Legal action. Arrests. My name, June Bennett, was on the front page of a story that stretched across the country. Illegally tested, silenced, fading, the victims of Project Sarah. They gave what I had a name. But no cure. Still, something changed. We weren't shadows anymore. We were real. And Eli, he brought it all to light. I remember the day they called to say the lawsuit was moving forward. Eli sat beside me, holding my hand like he always did. They can't give you back what they took, he said, his voice breaking, but at least the world knows now. They can't do it to anyone else. I looked into his eyes. And for a second, a heartbeat, I remembered everything. The bookstore. The stars. His hands in my hair, tracing the outline of the life we never got to finish. I love you, I whispered. And he smiled like it was enough. Like it always would be. I don't know the man sleeping on the couch beside me. His hair is longer now. His eyes colder. His smile, when it shows up, is thin and distant, like someone remembering how to be human. But I know his soul. Even if my mind loses everything else, I know Eli. Just not the version he used to be. He doesn't take pictures anymore. The old Eli used to carry a camera like a second skin. He saw beauty in rusted buildings, in cloud reflections, in me laughing over spilled coffee. But that man, the one who whispered poems against my collarbone and called me Junebug, he died the day I was diagnosed. What was left behind was someone harder. Sharper. Someone who had stared down a billion-dollar corporation and refused to flinch. After the Halden biomedical case went public, Eli became the face of the fight. Not by choice. At first, he just wanted answers. Closure. Maybe a miracle. But the world needed someone to believe in. Someone angry. Articulate. Devastated. And Eli, my Eli, gave them all of that. He stood in front of courtrooms and cameras, reading parts of my journal, holding up my photo like evidence of something sacred. They stole her from herself, he said once, voice shaking in front of 100 microphones. I'm watching the love of my life disappear in pieces. And I won't stop until someone answers for it. He wasn't just grieving anymore. He was leading. He changed. His voice, once soft and full of wonder, became steady and commanding. Like someone who couldn't afford to tremble anymore. He went on podcasts. Spoke at universities. Sat across from politicians in closed-door hearings, staring them down with the fury of a man who had lost everything and still showed up. People started calling him an activist. A hero. They didn't know he still cried every morning in the shower. That he still whispered my name like a lifeline. He never told them that the price of all this justice was him. One night, I heard him on the phone with someone I don't know who. Sometimes I don't recognize myself anymore, he said quietly. But it's like I don't get to be just Eli now. I owe her more than that. And that's what broke me. Because I never asked for that. I never wanted him to become a soldier in this war. I just wanted pancakes and poetry and dancing barefoot at 2 a.m. But this path, it became his purpose. And he walked it for me. Even as it shattered him. He moved us out of Charleston. Too many memories. Too many ghosts in the walls. We live somewhere quieter now. By a lake. With foggy mornings and birdsong and an old wooden dock he repaired himself. He reads to me every night. Even if I don't respond. He started a foundation in my name. The June Bennett Fund, dedicated to ethical patient advocacy and medical accountability. He says it's helping people. That parts of me, the real me, live on through it. But I can see the toll it takes. He doesn't smile at sunsets anymore. He doesn't hum Sinatra. He watches the world like it's something he has to protect, not something to enjoy. And still, every night, before he sleeps, he whispers, I love you. Wherever you are. Like I'm drifting somewhere far away and he's sending out signal flares in the dark. I used to think love was about wholeness. About being seen, held, understood. But watching Eli, I've come to understand something deeper. Love is what changes you. Even if it breaks you. especially if it breaks you. And Eli, the boy I met under a summer sky, is gone. In his place is someone unshakable, unstoppable. Someone forged in pain. Someone who never stopped choosing me even when I couldn't choose back. He became someone else. Because love demanded it. I don't know what day it is. Sometimes I think I'm 19 again, waiting for the bus in a yellow sundress. Sometimes I'm a child, watching fireflies blink outside my bedroom window. Sometimes I'm nowhere at all. But then he speaks. And for a moment, I'm back. He always knows how to find me. Today, the light feels softer. There's music playing, slow, haunting. I think it's our song, but I don't know the name. Just the feeling it leaves behind. Like sunlight in winter. Like something warm that hurts a little. Eli is sitting beside the bed. He looks older now. Not in years, in weight. Like he's been carrying something heavy for a long time. His hands are wrapped around mine, fingers worn and calloused from work. From building this house. From holding on. He tells me the sky was pink this morning. That the lake was still. That the trees are beginning to bloom again. He tells me I smiled in my sleep. He doesn't know if I understand. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. But love, real love, doesn't need answers. It just stays. Even when everything else leaves. I hear him say, "You would have been the best mom." And I remember. For a breath. The list of names. The dog we never got. The future we planned like it was promised. I remember sitting on the kitchen floor with him, our legs tangled, dreaming out loud as the world spun quietly around us. I want to speak. To tell him he made my life beautiful. That I was never afraid, not really, because he was beside me. That I felt every second of his love even in the silence. But the words won't come. So I squeeze his hand. Just once. And he breaks. Later, he takes a pen and writes in the notebook beside my bed. The same one where I wrote poetry when I could still hold a pen. His handwriting is shaky. But the words are steady. She loved like a storm and faded like a whisper. But in every silence, she still speaks. He closes the book gently, as if it's sacred. Because it is. That night, I dream of us. Young. On the rooftop. Wrapped in a blanket, watching stars blink into place. He looks at me and smiles. That old smile. The one that never knew grief. "Tell me something true," I whisper. He leans in, touches my face, and says, "You never really left." I don't wake up. Not the next morning. Not ever. But I'm not gone. Not truly. I'm in the trees that surround our little lake house. In the songs he still plays. In the notes he leaves for no one but me. I'm in every life that's been touched by the foundation bearing my name. I'm in his footsteps, his voice, the way he still whispers "I love you" when the room is quiet. Love didn't save me, but it carried me. And in the end, love and pain, they were never two things. They were always one.